All right, Shalom. Kahalayam La Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakakwadash, which is the Paleo Hebrew, for the name of the Heavenly Father being Yahweh, and that of the Messiah, whom the world calls ignorantly Jesus, being Yahweh Shai. The reason I say ignorantly is because the letter J wasn't even derived until the 16th century, man, so that clearly could not have been his name. All right, and you may question why that even matters. But as it is written, man, there's no other name given among men whereby you must be saved. Point blank, period. You see, the relevancy of the name is very important, man. The elect will have that name in order to receive salvation. Without that name, there is no salvation, man. All right, take not his name in vain. But anyway, again, that'd be Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai, to whom we give all glory at the beginning of all of our lessons, man. I'd like to give double honors unto the elders and the apostles at GMS Great Millstone, and a sincere, peaceful, blessing salutations unto all those of you, hopeful, faithful, potential members of the elect, who are doing the best to make the calling of their election sure, man, who have been reborn, right? We've been lied to, we've been deceived, we've been brought up in captivity, man. We've been brought up in, a world, which as it is written, right, Job 9:24, that has been given into the hand of the wicked. Let's grab that real quick. Let's look at Job chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Right. So he's covered the faces of the judges of this earth, man. So that shows you that not only are they wicked, but they've covered the true judges, meaning they've replaced those judges with themselves, man. So we have a wicked form of judgment taking place. The system is crooked, man. In other words, and if not, where and who is he? So who is it, man? It's somebody who's in power, who's covered the faces of the true judges and replaced them, man. We can go ahead and take that and jump to Luke chapter 20 verse 24, or Salakia chapter 24 and verse 21. If I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, come. Chapter 21 and verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. So Jerusalem is in the hand of the Gentiles, man. The true judges, who are the Israelites, which is why they were given the law since the very beginning, right? According to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 6. Chapter 4 and verse 5, it says, Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God hath commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it, right? So they were given these laws, statutes, and commandments so they could judge the earth, which in time is ultimately what they're going to do, man. All right? But since they are not in that place in the judgment seat, the wicked have sat there and replaced them, basically, man. The true Israelites. This is the book of Micah, chapter 4 and verse 1. We'll actually just get to the main point, man. Yeah, verse 2, it says, And many nations shall come and say, Come and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth out of Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. All right, so we're going to be teaching the Most High's word, man. We're going to be teaching the laws to all nations, so that they can know the ways of the Most High. You see? So yeah, man. So the true judges, being the Israelites, have been replaced, and as we read in the book of Luke, by the Gentiles, until which the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled, man. So they're still there in that seat today, man. Which is why, again, how I mentioned in the beginning of the lesson, are those who have been reborn, because we've been institutionalized in this world, man. Right? Yahushua told Nicodemus that we need to be reborn, right? I believe that's for John chapter 3, if I'm not mistaken. And I'll I'll just get to the point, man. Verse 3, it says, truly Yahushua said unto him, truly, truly. In fact, I'm going to go back, man, because we could actually pick some of this context out of this for the lesson as well. Verse 1, it says, there was a man of a Pharisee named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. And you got to remember, man, at that time, those were the ones, right, who were in the power seat among Israel, man. I mean, they obviously, Israel wasn't in rulership, but those were the ones who seemed to appear like they were on point, man. Just like today would be these Edomites, these Christians, these Catholicism, like these different religious groups, right, present themselves as, and it's just because that's the way the popular, the what's the word I'm looking for, man? The way the world has put them, right? So you grow up in this world imagining that white Christ, imagining, right, your sodomite pastor is some type of something special, and that's just because that's how you were raised. That's how you were taught. It was beat into you at a young age. Well, this time it was the Pharisees, man. You see, so this Pharisee was the ruler of the Jews, and which is that exactly why he came to Yahushua by night, because there would be some murmuring and some talking about this fool going up and talking to Yahushua, because he was supposed to be that dude on the high level. That's like seeing Vocab Malone or some, not to put all this clout on him, because all he is a hired hand of these religious groups, right? But that's like seeing one of these guys come and right, sneakily go up to the apostles and try to get a breakdown or something, man. Right, that's exactly what's going on in here. So that shows you, right, you have to be reborn, man. You have to get rid of all that leavening, all that madness that was beat into you, man. And coming over that white Christ bullcrap, man. That's something that's it takes time, man. Me speaking for myself, man. Even after I was in the truth, I still would picture that damn Cesare, man. Like when I would be getting ready to pray and stuff. So I had to get that leavening out of myself, man. Right? And that's why it says what? Verse 3, Yahushua answered and said unto him, true. And that's why that picture that we hold out there at camp is so powerful, man. Because we're casting down a stronghold that's been beat into us for decades through slavery and all that. Yahushua answered and said unto them, truly, truly, I say unto you, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Right? So you have to be reborn, man. Right? And it goes on how, Nicodemus didn't understand it and what have you. Right? Which we'll go ahead and just read verse 6, it says, that which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the spirit is spirit. So you have to be reborn, man. You have to be reborn, and that rebirth of the spirit, right, is gonna go hand in hand with these scriptures, man. With you reading these scriptures and getting the proper understanding to get this madness out of you. But it begins again with you being woken up, with you with your faith, man. Ultimately, which is a gift from Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, as the scriptures call it, right? But this is Ephesians chapter 5 and verse verse 26, it says that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, right? So he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. You see, we use this word to wash us, man. Wash all that madness out your brain. Basically, like these damn scoffers come up and try to tell you you're in a cult, which simply means to believe. They tell you you're brainwashed, which yes, we are brainwashed, man. We're brainwashed with these scriptures. You see, just as the scriptures say you should be. But if your brain hasn't been washed with these scriptures, and you still living on among these people in the world, and you still seeing things the way they see them, man. You see, we don't see eye to eye with these people anymore, man. What is their talk about, man? Work, probably some sodomite type of stuff, man. All type of madness, football. You have to bring yourself to a base level just to have a conversation with them, man. Why? Because they have not been reborn. They're still the same old person that they always were, man. Meanwhile, you begin a walk to immortality, man. You see, like the scriptures say, cast off of the mortal thoughts. That's what we've done, man. We've washed these mortal thoughts off of us. We're on the road to immortality and perfection through the grace and the sacrifice of Yahushua, which we went into on the last lesson, right? But Romans chapter 6 and verse, we'll go ahead and get to verse 3 just to prove the point, man. Know ye not that so many of us, as were baptized into Yahushua HaMashiach, were baptized unto his death, right? So basically, when you took on this understanding in this, in this baptism, spiritually speaking, hey, you became a new creature, man. That old creature that you were died. He is gone, no longer here, man. You see? Even though you physically look the same, you spiritually have changed. Your DNA spiritually has changed, man. You're turning into a immortal creature, as I had mentioned, right? So it says, verse 4, therefore we are buried with him in his baptism unto death. So that old man is dead. We even took on the likeness of a new name, which is also prophecy, right? Going back to the book of Isaiah, right? We'll surname ourselves by the name of the Lord, right? So we're coming back to life, man. We're going from that dead state to a living state. It says, that like as Hamashiach was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in the newness of life, right? So Yahushua was risen, meaning what? We've spiritually been risen, man. You see, and this goes hand in hand with 1 Corinthians 15, which we'll grab here shortly. It says, for if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we also shall be planted in the likeness of his resurrection. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15. And let's see where we could start here. Yeah, verse 21, it says, for since by Adam, or by man came death, by man also came the resurrection of the dead. Right, and that was the beginning of us, becoming mortal creatures, right? As we go into the book of Psalms, I believe that's the 86th chapter, if I'm not mistaken, right? Telling us that we are gods, but we shall die like men. We lost that God estate, man. We lost that godhood, if you will. And now we're put in a mortal state where we have this flesh upon us, and now really the end of all of our roads is death, man. Because why? The wages of sin is death, right? As if we were to continue going on that book of Romans, it also tells us that, but there are many other scriptures that tell you the same, man. The wages of sin is death. Sin is the transgression of the law, which we can't keep perfectly, but we've been given that law so we can be the lawgivers, which is why the new covenant, pursuant to Hebrews, the 8th chapter, is going to result in what? The laws being written within us so we could rule in perfection and ultimately rule ourselves in perfection, man. All right? Right now, we're rehearsing the righteous acts. We're doing everything we can to be perfect vessels in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, but guess what? Yahushai's sacrifice has filled the void, if you will, and has even made us so we could be living creatures, man. Verse 21, it says, for since by, verse 22, for as in Adam all die, even so in Hamashiach shall we be made alive. So through Yahushai, again, we're being made living creatures, man. We're coming back to life. We're coming back into unto our former estate, if you will. Verse 23, but every man after his own order, Hamashiach's the first fruits, afterward they that are Hamashiach's at his coming. Wait a minute. So this tells you that once he returns, we're going to be risen, man. Once he returns, we're going to be we're going to be resurrected. But again, this spiritual resurrection has taken place, as we just read in the book of Romans, the 6th chapter. So we've spiritually been brought back to life. We've spiritually been resurrected, but we're waiting for a physical resurrection as well, man. You see that? And this physical resurrection is going to result in what? I'll go ahead and go down. Verse 47. It says, the first man, verse 46, howbeit that which was first, which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual. Meaning, the first man is of the earth, earthly. The second man is of the Lord from heaven, right? And that's the man that's being resurrected, man. Verse 48, it says, as is the earthly, such are they also that are earthly. And as is the heavenly, such are also they that are heavenly. Verse 49, and as we have borne the image of the earthly, so we shall also bear the image of the heavenly, right? So it's going to be a physical thing come soon, man. Verse 50, it says, and this cuts Christianity to the core, man. telling you that when you die, you go to heaven, a physical place, right, where you out there just partying and what have you. No, man, you go to the spirit world. You see, as it is written, the kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of heaven will physically be established in times to come, but first he has to crack these clouds, man. Right? What do we read earlier out of the book of Luke, man? Like that Israel's still in the hand of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. But once that time is fulfilled, the kingdom of heaven is going to be established here on earth, man, as it's within the Israelites, who will then be made incorruptible, who will then be made perfect, who will then have these laws written within them, man, causing the earth to echo to our vibration, if you will, man. Right? Because Zechariah 12:8 tells us that, or Salaki, the book of Zechariah 8:12 tells us that even the seed and the vines, all of this earth is going to come back to life upon Israel inheriting it once more. Verse 50, now this I say, brethren, that flesh